Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of Cubs on Tap. I'm Ron Luce, joined by the one and only Mr. Joey Ricotta, and we are here to, Joey, I was hoping I'd be a lot more excited about this show, but I'm not, and we're going to address that here in a second. But outside of the obvious of what we're going to discuss here in just a few minutes, how are you doing today, my friend?
It's hard to go outside of the obvious, honestly. I'm good-ish, bad at the same time. Like it's just I've never thought, and my name says it right here, 6 in a row would feel this bad.
So bad.
6 in a row. Like, you should be excited about this. You should be happy that the Cubs are playing this good of baseball. 5 in a row since the All-Star break. And it just doesn't feel like it, because we're going to get into it, but it's just, man, it really hit me today. And I knew this was coming. We all knew this was coming, but it doesn't feel any better nonetheless. So I don't know. How are you doing, Ron?
Yeah, outside of the obvious, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay, but I'll tell you what, I went to the refrigerator and got a few adult apple juices for this one, because we're gonna need it. But let's talk just a little bit. Oh, and a good afternoon to you too, Harry. How are you doing?
Okay.
Let's talk some good, because there was good that happened today. Like you said, the Cubs have won 6 in a row. They swept the Pirates. This is 2 sweeps in a row. That's good. There's still good happening, right? Like let's break some of that down really quick here, Joey, because obviously today, really it all starts up front. Keegan Thompson, 8th win of the season. He went 7. We got back-to-back 7-inning games out of the starting pitchers, Joey. Holy shit. And he had a nice line too. 4 hits, 2 runs. Neither one of them were earned, as a matter of fact. Both coming on that O'Neill Cruz home run in the 7th inning. But no walks and 7 Ks for Keegan Thompson today. That is a nice outing. Again, for a guy that we've widely considered a building block. So, Joey, what did you like about Keegan today? You actually had a fun little stat for me that you said you stopped counting on. I would love for you to share that with the listeners as well.
Yeah, I mean, I loved everything about Keegan today, and Sampson last night. It was excellent. You guys talked about him on last night's show, but back-to-back 7-inning performances, like you said, the guy was nearly perfect for 7 innings. And I mean, he gave up a hit early on. It wasn't actually like he was perfect, but I knew very early on in this game that he had some electric stuff, because he missed a couple in the middle of the zone. I think it was a breaking ball. The one that really stuck out to me, I forget who he was pitching to at the time, but he had a breaking ball that he missed with in the middle of the zone, and the guy swung right through it. And I'm like, and he swung over the top of it too in the middle of the zone. And I'm like, okay, he's got some electric stuff today. Like, he's on his game. And not only that, the stat that I mentioned to you before we hopped on here was he had 9 of his first 10 batters he had first pitch strikes on. And I stopped counting. I believe it was 13 of 17, and I just stopped counting at that point. Or maybe it was 13 of 16. But it's kind of hard. I don't have that stat like offhand. I was just going batter by batter to look at that. But I mean, he had some pinpoint control tonight with the fastball, and that cutter and the breaking ball looked really, really good today. Getting some whiffs there. I think he had 14 whiffs in this game. And I mean, 7 strikeouts in 7 innings. He really was mowing him down with the strikeout pitch before like the 5th inning. I think he might have had like 7 strikeouts through 4 or 5 innings or something like that, or at least 6. And then he just kind of started pitching more to contact, which he really was pitching to contact a lot of the game, just very efficiently getting those strikeouts too. Like, he kept the pitch count very low. I think he left with 97 pitches in the game. So an excellent outing from Keegan Thompson. And to his credit, this is a huge game for him pitching. I know it's the Pirates. The standings don't matter. This game means nothing, but it meant everything to Willson Contreras, and from the looks of it, Ian Happ as well. With their days obviously numbered here, and this could be the final ball game at home. But him pitching in that game, him knowing what was on the line for those guys, and him to have that great of a game here. And allow them to get a win here in their final home game from what it looks like. I mean, that just shows that he can be a big game pitcher, right? Like, that's my big takeaway from Keegan Thompson today was he could have easily just went out there and put too much pressure on himself to have a good game, given the circumstances of the whole situation. And he didn't do that. He went out there and he fucking shoved. And I love it. I absolutely love his outing.
Yeah, and just to back up what you said there with a couple of stats, buddy. 97 pitches, in fact, 69 of them strikes. Nice. You got to love that out of Keegan. But yeah, Keegan Thompson had a great day today. Again, another building block for the future. Certainly something to put kind of a feather in the cap today for the Cubs. And thank you to everybody jumping in the comments here that's got some good morale because Scott Crawford saying, the Cubs may never lose again.
Hope you enjoyed the game too, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say 2 great games for our boy Scott here in Chicago. So that's awesome. Good for you, man. I hope it was everything you hoped for. Even our big boss man, Mr. Tony Marchese himself asked for the victory beers. We got them open.
I got the victory coffee here, but yeah.
Yeah, they're also sad boy beers as well. And we'll get to that here in a few minutes. But our boy Tyler. What's up, boys? We're winning out the rest of the year. Oh, and we're buyers now, too. We're getting Soto, getting Ohtani. I hear Judge wants to be traded here now. Devers, too. Look out, MLB. Love the positivity because, yes, the Cubs did. They've won 6 games in a row. And we have a lot to be excited about, right? And it's, like we said, we just talked about Keegan Thompson, a couple other really good things today. Big first inning from this team, right? Willson Contreras gets on with the little flare single. Seiya Suzuki follows it up with a double. 2 runners in scoring position. Ian Happ comes up, smacks a double, drives both of them in, and then Nico Hoerner comes up and doubles himself and drives in Ian Happ. Just way to work it down the line. These guys keep hitting. Nico Hoerner continues to be splendid. Ian Happ continues to be splendid. Seiya Suzuki kind of turning the ship around too, because then later in the game, he hits that insurance home run. Insurance ones are certainly cool and tough. That ultimately gave the Cubs the 2-run lead late in the ball game. And, Michael Givens came in and shut it down after a really solid inning from Rowan Wick. So, again, Cubs only have to use 3 pitchers again today. You'll love to see it. Seiya Suzuki's turning it around. My Fly the W pick looks really good now after today's game. Didn't look so great yesterday, but looked good today. Nico Hoerner, another great game from him. A lot of good shit, man. And that's exciting. So I want to turn it over to you here. Continue to talk to me a little bit about some good stuff. We had Seiya today. The whole lineup pretty much hit well overall today. And then again, the bullpen getting the job done following a really good start from Keegan Thompson.
Yeah, absolutely. Seiya Suzuki stands out right away with, he's hitting over 300 since returning from the IL. So that's good to see. You love that.
Love that.
Big second half is incoming. I truly believe we are going to get a big second half here from Seiya Suzuki. And you mentioned Willson Contreras and Ian Happ too with their first at bats. Contreras, how big was that for him after the ovation too? The first time up, and then the last time up, but the first time up, him getting that base hit, that was huge, man. Him getting a hit and then Happ driving it in runs there, just absolutely incredible because. It really could be the final time, and Nico Hoerner just continues to stay hot. That kid just slaps the ball all around the yard, dude. It doesn't matter right side, left side, center field. He's hitting line drives places that, it just doesn't matter where he goes. He'll take the pitch, and he'll go the other way with it. He'll sit on a breaking ball. He'll split it in the gap. You guys were talking a little bit about the power. You want to see a little bit more power, but we did see a home run recently too, so – maybe that's going to start coming as he just, starts to take off even more here. So that first inning was just, you can't say enough about that first inning. Anytime you can put up a number like that in the first, you're feeling really good about your chances to win. And then Keegan shutting down the door, just slamming it in their face. You use 3 pitchers in the ball game. Suddenly, all of a sudden, Rowan Wick, last 6 outings, he hasn't given up a run, and he's had 8 strikeouts. So, is he starting to turn around too? That's another thing that kind of I remember with the All-Star break show that we did, I was looking at him, that was one of the guys that I'm like, hey, we've seen much better out of Rowan Wick in the past. Can he start to turn this thing around a little bit in the bullpen? Because once these guys get traded off too, your Givens, your Chris Martins, your David Robertsons, unless Rowan Wick is going to be dealt as well, which, I mean, that is a possibility if somebody looks at the recent outings, but I wouldn't think somebody's overly excited to trade for Rowan Wick right now. He's going to be one of the guys in the setup role that Ross is going to look at in the second half, especially. So that was another positive. I know it's kind of meaningless in the grand scheme of things with this entire game, but yeah, it was still good to see that nonetheless.
Yeah, and just to kind of follow up really quick, Joey, before we do pivot the conversation here a little bit to some of your points there, right? For starters, yeah, I agree about Rowan Wick. He looks really good. Certainly, probably favored to be in that setup role. It certainly seems like they like him there. If I'm a betting man, especially once the aforementioned names that you already mentioned are traded away from the bullpen, it'll probably be Scotty Efros being your closer really down the stretch. He got the chance. Got the chance last night, got his first career save. So it certainly feels like, he's not going anywhere, and he's a guy that's going to be back there, but potentially so will Rowan Wick. Back to your point, though, about Nico Hoerner. And Tyler chipped in here in the comments. He says, in all seriousness, you guys may have talked about it, but how much has Nico stepped up big these past few days? He's making the case the next leader of the team, excited about the guy. And yeah, that's very consistent with the comments on last night's show as well, as a matter of fact, Tyler. So, I think a lot of people are on that same wavelength when it comes to Nico Hoerner. But I got the pleasure to, well, not totally pleasure. I got to sit in Lollapalooza traffic on the way home today from the old office. But I got to listen to the great Pat Hughes and the great Ron Coomer on the radio, and Coomer was talking about watching Nico Hoerner in batting practice, and he said Nico never hits a ball on the ground. Nico never hits a ball in the air. He says they're all line drives. And all he does is take it wherever the ball is placed on the plate. If it's down the middle, it's going to center field. If it's on the outside of the plate, he's taking it to right. If it's on the inside of the plate, he's taking it down the line to left. And that's all he does in BP is just hits missiles. And it translates, though. That's the difference, right? Like when you have a guy like a Nico Hoerner that can hit the ball hard the way he does, those line drives, I don't give a fuck if he hits 15 home runs. I really don't. Like he could hit 7 the rest of the year. Like that could be his total for the rest of the year, and I could give a damn because when he's up there hitting rockets into the gap like he has, especially the last couple of days, right? 2 doubles in back-to-back games now, or a double in each of the last back-to-back games. That's going to translate right to this new era of baseball that we discuss so heavily here at Cubs on Tap. Like, the guys that can run, the guys that do have some power. Nico's shown it. Right? Like, and because here's the thing with Nico Hoerner, when he hits a home run, it's not like this big fly ball. It's a piss missile out of the yard every time he does hit it, right? It's just an absolute laser beam. So it was really interesting and really cool.
There's not much air on it. It's getting out.
Yeah, he muscles that thing out on a line if it is getting out. I think it was cool though hearing Ron Coomer just kind of describe his kind of philosophy that he takes during BP, and you can see it, right? We're seeing it now translate on the field, and that you had mentioned the line drives and taking it to all parts of the ballpark, and that's what made me think of that. So I'm really glad you said that. But dude, victory beers are cool and tough, as our big boss, Mr. Tony Marchese, said in the comments here. But there is this metaphorical gray cloud that hovers over today's game. And for those that are maybe confused when you're listening, or maybe you didn't get a chance to catch the game, this is probably, more likely than not, the last game at Wrigley Field for both Willson Contreras and Ian Happ as Chicago Cubs. And it sucks, right? And, you knew about it coming into the day, and Willie got the standing O like you had mentioned, and these guys got a lot of love today. And, one of the cool things, and I want to read the tweet here from Tony Andracki. After the game, he talked to Ian Happ, and he says Ian Happ said the fans in left field bleachers signed a ball and gave it to him today. He said, quote, all the fans, they're there every day, no matter what, no matter the weather, April until now, they're there every single day, and they care so much. That was really meaningful. It is different here. All these Sox fans and all these other sons of bitches around the area. I'm getting a little hostile now. It's different here. Yeah, because your team looks different. No, it literally is different here. Being a Cubs fan is totally different, especially in today's day and age where, players are probably more connected to the fans than they ever have been because of social media and because of the way the internet works right now. Like, that's cool. That's very unique to this fan base. It's very unique to this fan base. And it truly is different in Wrigleyville, and as a member of the Chicago Cubs and as a fan of the Chicago Cubs. And that just goes to show the fans care about the team and the players. And they really, over the last few years, have developed these relationships with a lot of these players via social media, right? We saw Willson Contreras did an autograph signing with, friend of the program, Joe, and over at Obvious Shirts, and met a bunch of fans and did a lot of cool shit. Ian Happ's been there a bunch of times. Happer's done a lot of cool stuff around the community as well. I think what hurts so much, and then the hug in the dugout, by the way, for anybody that didn't see that, go check it out. Taylor McGregor, I think, was first on the video of Ian and Willie. They were the last two to leave the dugout, and they embraced and just a big bear hug. And it was it kind of put it all into perspective that this probably is their last games at Wrigley, and it sucks. And this is where, Joey, I know you said you were going to get a little frustrated before the show when we got to this part. I am too. I didn't think I was going to, but now it's kind of funneling out as I continue to talk. This sucks. It sucks seeing guys that you care about that are good players. Sure, last year it felt inevitable, right? I remember back in 2016, they were talking about 2021 with that Cubs core, right? Like that was inevitable, I feel like, because we heard about it constantly. It had years and years to matriculate. With Ian and Willie, it's a little different, right? These guys are very much homegrown. Both, Willie signed in 2009 as an international free agent, and Ian drafted in 2015 as a first-round draft pick. And it really did kind of feel like coming into the season that these guys might be here for the long haul. Maybe not so much Willie, right? The Willie rumors have been around all year. But then Happer comes out and has an all-star caliber year, and all of a sudden now, according to, if you believe everything that Jeff Passan tweets, which he's probably the most connected insider out of all of them, apparently everybody and their brother wants Ian Happ now at the trade deadline because he is such a unique baseball player. Plays very good defense, arguably Gold Glove caliber this year, especially in left field. He's a switch hitter, and he's actually hitting from that right side of the plate now. But fuck, man, as a Cubs fan, this sucks seeing guys that you love that you could honestly make an argument for them to have a future here, right? Again, I think last year it sucked seeing KB get traded. It sucked seeing Javi get traded. It sucked seeing Rizzo get traded. The Rizzo one hurt the most. A lot of people might remember. Cody and I went on the microphone. Shout out to our boy and friend of the program, Cody Domendo. We cried. We fucking cried on the podcast when Rizzo got traded. And you know what? When it happens, there might be some tears shed with guys like Happ and Contreras because of how connected they were to the city as players. And when you have guys like that and having to see them today, like, again, you just won 6 in a row, but these guys are tearing up because they don't want to leave. They don't want to be traded. They want to be here for the fucking long run, and they're not going to be. And, again, who knows? They could totally pull a 180 hoodwink on us, and, like, if the Cubs convention comes back next year, they, like, magically appear at the Cubs convention, and they're like, we're back! But, like, realistically, odds are...
That'd be a hell of a day.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be absolutely awesome. I'm not going to hype myself up for it. Like our good friend here at On Tap Sports and Jonathan Nani says, never get up for the letdown. But like, dude, it sucks. This is the wake up call, I think, right now is we're going to go through this pain again of another trade deadline and seeing two players that we absolutely love as Cubs fans get dealt. And then we're going to see some of these youth coming. And then you better fucking believe every Cubs fan is going to be screaming from the rooftops this offseason to Ricketts that it's
either, they already are. I mean,
either this team needs to start competing or eventually we're all going to get tired of watching our favorite players that have connections to the fan base get traded because you're trying to accumulate assets. Guess what? You've accumulated a fuck ton of assets. Really have. Minor league system looks awesome. Probably the best it's ever been. I would argue the minor league system right now has higher potential than it did when the original core came up.
It certainly has more depth.
Absolutely. But holy shit, man, it sucks watching guys like Ian Happ and Willson Contreras embrace in the dugout like that, with both of them knowing, coming off of all-star campaigns, might we add, that they're probably in the next 7 days going to be on different ball clubs. And holy shit, that sucks. It really does. And I don't want to take away, because I want you to share your thoughts on this too, Joey. But
no, I'm enjoying listening to you because I agree, man. Like, it fucking sucks, dude. I never want this to ever happen again. And it wasn't supposed to happen. None of this was supposed to happen. we're in this situation now, or the Cubs are in this situation because they chose a lane and they started going down it. This started last trade deadline. It actually started before the season when they traded Yu Darvish, right? That's really when it started. It kicked off everything, and as Ron hit somebody,
I totally missed. I tried to
with a
throw
beer
a can in
can.
the garbage, and I totally missed. I was chugging that one, pouring it out for Willie and Ian. We're gonna really
Crack 'em.
But continue. Sorry, I totally missed the trash can. That's all.
I was just hoping you didn't kill somebody. That's all. I was thankful.
Nobody was injured in the making of that ridiculous clip of me freaking out. Sorry. Continue.
Highlight reel. Yeah, no, man, it really sucks. We all knew this was coming, and I think I said it at the top of the show, but even though you know it's coming, and I did not know with Happ, right? Now this is confirmation. This game, and really just a couple of days ago, I kind of came to the realization that's Happ's probably going to. There's too much smoke around his name for him not to get traded at this point. And his value is at an all-time high. So I understand the reason behind it, but it sucks. It doesn't matter what the situation is. We shouldn't have to do this. And I hope this is the last time. Contreras and Happ have meant so much to this organization, to this team, to this fan base. You mentioned the signing with Contreras at obvious shirts. I mean, obvious passion comes to mind when you think about Contreras and Happ. Both of these guys really, really care. They show it on the field. Mm-hmm. Contreras, even today, his last game potentially as a Cub at Wrigley Field, what happened when Willson threw inside to him? Bryce Willson.
The other Willson.
Yeah, the other Willson. He gave him a little, stare down. And then he ran, and I was actually watching both broadcasts. I had my tablet, and then I was watching on the laptop. Two different broadcasts. I'm watching the Marquee one and I'm watching the Pirates one. Why? I don't know. I'm just a fucking weirdo. But I'm listening to the Cubs.
You're not a weirdo, Joey. You're not a weirdo at all.
But yes, I definitely am. What they said, the guy was freaking out. He's he just stepped on the mound. How could he step on the after he grounded out on that at bat? He stepped on the mound. Now he rubs up against Bryce Willson. Oh, they're gonna, and Bryce Willson just kind of looked at him, whatever. But that's what I'm talking about here. The passion with Willson Contreras, we saw it with Javi. We saw it with all those core players. There was a little extra passion. Maybe that's what it takes more times than not to achieve what they did. You have to have big balls and you have to have passion, right? You have to, it's talent, but it's also to get over that hump, to do what they did, to achieve break the 108-year curse, right? It takes a little something extra. It's not just talent on the field. You have to have the mental toughness. And a guy like Willson Contreras, he's had it. He's had it his entire career. Now, and it's just on full display every time. We've had the privilege of being able to watch him play for as many years as we have. I mean, he came out with a bang. I remember driving in the car on that Father's Day when he hit that home run in his first at-bat. I know you had a great story about that as well because you were at that game.
I was.
And my dad's who's this kid? Who? He'd never heard of him before. And I'm
most people didn't.
Most people didn't. I go, Dad, that's Willson Contreras. I think he's going to be fucking good. And I'm just going nuts in the car. He wasn't just fucking good. He was really good. I mean, people want to talk all they want about his framing and stuff, and that's fine. His framing has not been the greatest. He still has thrown out a lot of runners. So that part of his game has been very good, nabbing runners. And, now they're putting him more in the DH role, but it's look at what the season that he had offensively, this first half of the season, now that they did that for him. And I feel I understand you're a 30-year-old catcher. It's tough to extend a 30-year-old catcher. This is a business, and Contreras understands that. It still doesn't make it any less sad, right? Same thing goes for Happ, because Happ has so many connections within the city, has made so many great connections. He's been, everybody tunes into his podcast, The Compound, whether it's the coffee, Ian Happ, in my opinion, people were sleeping on him so much, and he still doesn't get the credit that he has earned, I think, at this point in his career, because the amount of they talked about a little bit the All-Star game, but the amount of like ups and downs he's had in his career for him to truly take off this season, the first half of the season, we're actually now going on a full calendar year of Ian Happ's excellence here. I was looking at the stats that was posted. I think it was like
it was right about this time. Yeah,
I think
it was right about this time last year that he started to pick it up.
Mm-hmm. He really started to pick it up about this time last year, and post All-Star break, post deadline, he just went absolutely nuts. And that's the guy we saw in 2020. So he just had a really bad first half. There's no other way around it. The first half of the season was awful last year, but he also had a lot of bad luck, and he was hitting the ball into the ground a little bit too much. So once he started to make a little bit of an adjustment at the plate, he really started to show that he's Ian Happ. And I still think he can hit 30 bombs in a season. Like, I don't think we've seen the full potential of Ian Happ still. So that's what makes this even more tough when you talk about a guy like him getting traded and this being his final game. Obviously, all the feels when you watch those two guys hug and the length that they hugged, and just like it sucks, man. Like watching Contreras get handshakes and hugs as everybody walks down the line, and then Happ to the bleachers, giving him, like, putting his hat or glove on his chest. I forget which one, but with the bleachers. And you mentioned the autographed baseball. This sucks. I don't ever want to deal with this again. And I'm as positive. I'm one of the most positive people about this rebuild. I really am. I love what the prospects are. I really do like for the most part, what Jed Hoyer has done for the returns, just for the returns. I don't like that this happened. How could I? Right? You're not a real Cubs fan if you like the fact that your favorite players and best players were traded away. When Rizzo, like you mentioned, you guys cried on this podcast. I legit cried in my car when Rizzo was traded too, because that was like my first and my favorite player. Just spade to spade. That was my favorite player. And outside of Sammy Sosa, it was Rizzo. And obviously he was the captain. The captain right now has been Willson Contreras. And you could kind of say co-captain, right? Ian Happ. And, you could toss Hayward's name in that bucket as well. I know people don't want to hear that, but he's been on this team for so damn long. He is absolutely a leader. So now we're left with, from that World Series team, and I know I'm kind of going on a long rant here, long-winded speech here, whatever, Hayward speech. But now we're left with what? Hendricks and Hayward from that World Series team.
Yep.
And that's the reality. It's just everybody's gone for the most part, and we hope they build it back up, because I think they will this offseason. They're going to have to spend money because, like you said, no one is going to let them get away with not spending money this offseason. And I'm pretty sure they fucking know that, because if they don't know that, there's going to be really, people should not go to any games next season at all. I'll be the first person to say that. And even in the second half of the season, if you want to boycott that way, don't go to any games. I feel you. Like, I'm still going to go to a game or two. Me and Ron got to go to a game or two because we're nuts, right? We are nuts. We want to go drink some beers in the bleachers, but I totally get it, man. Like, I totally get it. And yeah, man, that's about all I got for right now. It's just, I'm trying to find like the reasons why this all happened. I know the reasons why, but it's like, it doesn't make it any easier,
Yeah, I agree. Well, Scott says it all began when the Hayward signed his contract. So, keep you a little maybe up on the thing here. But hello to all those that are joining late. We see the comments. We promise. We appreciate you guys all chipping in. And can Cubs get Juan Soto for trade? It would be nice, Omar. It would be nice. But I don't think that's going to happen. They would have to sell too much of the farm system. And they're trying to build that back up. Hence why Willie and Ian are likely dealt here in the next 6 days or so. It's going to be interesting, man. There's a lot that's going to happen in the next 6 days. The Cubs only play 4 of those days, actually, over those next 6.
So they got Monday off too, right?
They have Monday off and they have tomorrow off. So yeah, a pair of off days surrounding this West Coast trip that they have, where they go out to San Francisco. So it'll be interesting. We're going to hear a lot of rumors, already rumors poking up that The New York Mets and Cubs are in discussions of a trade that would send both Willson Contreras and David Robertson to New York. That's certainly an interesting trade. Ian Happ, again, as we noted, apparently is wanted by everybody and anybody. So that's just going to become a bidding war. It's going to be interesting. We're going to have a lot of shit to talk about over the next week. And then, once we kind of pick up the pieces and grieve a little bit over our favorite players getting traded, then we are focused on the future. And again, some good stuff today. Seiya had a good day. That's a guy for the future. Keegan had a good day. That's a guy for the future. So, and even last night's game, right? We talked extensively about yesterday's game of just the guys for the future. And even in that Phillies series, the future is carrying this team on this win streak right now. Yes, don't get us twisted. Willson and Ian have been a big part of this win streak. There's a reason they've won 6 games in a row. But there's some shit coming. So it'll be interesting to see what they get back and things like that. And obviously we'll break that all down for you here, not only on the podcast, but also over at ontapsportsnet.com. Shameless little plug there for some of our writing as the time comes. But in the meantime, Joey, I want to turn it back over to you quickly, my friend. Do you have any final thoughts on again, the Cubs swept the Pirates in a 2-game set. That's cool and tough. 6 wins in a row. That's cool and tough. But final thoughts, my friend.
I mean, I can't really give my final thoughts right now because it's just so fresh in my mind. Like them, this whole situation, even though like we knew it was coming. But so I'll probably have more thoughts on this later on when it comes to Contreras and Happ. But like, listening to him, watching him even in the clubhouse, talking to the reporters yesterday too, like just sucks. I mean, honestly, like I said at the top, this is the worst a 7-game winning streak has ever felt. And, you guys mentioned on the other show, I think it was last night's, and we've talked about it, a lot actually, but this team, where would they be without all these injuries? Because now you're starting to see them hit the ground running. And it's like, maybe if some of these guys didn't get off to slow starts too, because I think there was some of that in there mixed in with the injuries as well. Is this team closer to 500? Like you guys were saying, I think they are. Like, I don't think the Cubs really, they got a lot of bad luck this season. Like whether it be the injuries, whether it be the close games, like some of those close games, you can flip a coin and a team can win. Like some of it is not just on the Cubs for losing those games. You just have rough breaks. Like a ball finds a spot, right? You could have a broken bat bleeder, ball finds a spot. Yep. And some of that shit's happened this year. There's been hard hit balls right at gloves. Oh, yeah. Some of that's happened this year. So how big of a difference does that make, even mentality wise, when these guys go back to the clubhouse, when they lose a game like that, especially how young they are for the most part? Like that's a in my opinion, that's a game changer, and I know a lot of people don't believe in like clutch factors, like small sample size. There is no such thing as being clutch. Another huge takeaway of mine is, first of all, I don't believe in that shit because I played baseball, not to this high level, obviously, no question about it. It's not the same when I was playing baseball, but like I still do, but like that's rec league ball. I get it. But there is absolutely a mentality involved when you were up in the clutch. And don't tell me that these players aren't thinking about it with guys on base. Mm-hmm. Guys on base, key situations, late in games, close games. There's absolutely something to be said about somebody playing in the clutch and hitting in the clutch and whether or not they can do it. Because the guys that can do it consistently do it. And the guys that can't, a lot of times they consistently can't. And now look at Nico Hoerner. Mm-hmm. He's starting to do that. And I that's the one thing I'm going to kind of close out here, because throughout all the sadness today, and some happiness as well. You appreciate the good times and the memories, but Nico Hoerner, that really stands out to me too today.
Yeah, absolutely. Nico Hoerner's not going anywhere, so that's certainly a guy that people can rally around and be excited about for the future. I think there's going to be a lot of number 2 jerseys in the stands at Wrigley. And no, I don't mean Brian Terrio, ladies and gentlemen. I mean the one
old handle.
Nico Hoerner, yeah, the old handle. If you know, that's one of those situations. But yeah, man, my final thoughts, it's cool to get 6 in a row. It feels good. It's nice talking about Cubs wins. Wins are nice. A lot nicer than losses, that's for damn sure. But yeah, kind of like you said, there's really not final thoughts yet on Ian and Willie because they're not gone just yet. Hopefully they've got 4 more games in a Cubs uniform, and we can enjoy them. If you like the late night baseball, especially on a weekend, this is the one for you. Grab a good old pop and hashtag crack 'em with us, and let's watch some baseball. And they're playing a very good team too, so it's going to be really cool to see what they do coming up. And that's where we're going to kind of shift our focus now because, again, series wins, cool and tough. Cubs now improved to 40-57. They're technically a half game better than the Pirates, so they leap them for the moment in the NL Central standings.
Only 13 games back, baby.
Only 13 games back, baby. Fun fact, just a quick story here, and then we'll move forward. I saw that in the elevator today. They showed the division standings, and I kind of giggled to myself, and I was like, Cubs are only 13 and a half out, boys. So it was on my mind as well today. So I'm glad you said that because I thought that was also pretty funny. But hey, Cubs win. You'll love to see it. And obviously, a little bit of emotions involved in today's game. Well, for those, again, if you've been listening along, also thanks for everybody that has joined. We get to see kind of how many people are in here, and obviously we see your guys' comments as well. Appreciate everybody being proactive on the comments. Appreciate everybody tuning in. It's fun. It's fun when we have people to have discussions and conversation, and a lot of times the comments do actually help steer our conversation at times as well. So thank you to everybody that has tuned in today, and we're not done just yet, but wanted to throw that out there before we keep looking forward. And off day tomorrow. I know I have some plans that are going to hopefully distract me from the sadness of the inevitable trade deadline. Joey, I hope you have something similar, and I hope for Juice's sake as well. And all of those, here at Cubs on Tap, and all those that listen to Cubs on Tap, right? Go distract yourself. It's an off day tomorrow. But the boys are back at it on Thursday. This game will take place Thursday, July 28th. It's an 8:45 local time start. If you're in the Eastern time zone, sorry to you, Big Pimp. It's almost a 10 o'clock start for you guys. A 9:45 Eastern Daylight Time start at Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. The 40-57 Chicago Cubs pay a visit to the 500 San Francisco Giants. This game in the Chicago market, you can listen 670 The Score, and you can watch on the Marquee Sports Network. And if you just happen to be out in the Bay Area for some reason, you can listen on KNBR 680, 510 AM, KSFN, or you can watch on NBC Sports Bay Area in that market. It will be friend of the program and recent father and the pride and joy of Lucedale, Mississippi, Justin Steele on the bump for the Cubbies. He's 4-6 on the year with a 4.02 ERA, coming off a really good start his last time out. And he will be going up against our favorite pitcher, Mr. Joey Ricotta, and that is to be determined. Fun fact, Cubs have actually announced all 4 of their starters for this series. The Giants have done the exact opposite, have not announced any starters for this coming series. So we will kind of learn on the fly who the starting pitchers are game by game for the guys out in the Bay. With that being said, also, you said 13 and a half out. They're only 11 back at the wild card as well. Joey, I will turn it back over to you, my friend. A little preview of what you're expecting for Thursday's game, and we could do some fly the W picks again too. We'll round out with that before we get out of here. But sir, your thoughts on Thursday's game?
Yeah, I like that we're getting back to these fly the W picks because we kind of were dropping the ball there for a little bit. So I'm no, it's not because we weren't even providing them to you. So it's on all of us. But no, nonetheless, these are two teams heading in a different direction right now. The Giants have lost 5 straight games. They're at 500. I don't know. I forget who they're playing today or tonight, but 5 straight games, and the Cubs are obviously 6 straight winning. So it's, you like that, but like I'm kind of thinking, being the skeptic, I'm like, something's got to give here maybe. Like, I hope not, but maybe that's, part of their strategy with this TBD. They're like, we're on such a losing streak. We're just going to kind of not announce our pitching staff and all that. I don't know.
Well, just to quickly jump in here, Joey, I'll give you some information for you. So the Giants are playing. They are in game 2 of a 3-game set with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They are in Arizona as well. That game will be at 8:40 local time tonight for those in the Central Time Zone. Carlos Rodon on the bump tonight for the Giants. So with that being said, if I do my math correctly, we potentially wouldn't have to see him till the end of the series. Certainly won't be in the beginning of the series. They also have a getaway game tomorrow with the Diamondbacks at 2:40 local time before that 8:45 local time.
Do they have that pitcher for that game? Do we have
tomorrow? It will be Logan Webb.
Okay,
So
good.
we actually avoid Logan Webb now in this
Yeah.
series as a result of it, and he's arguably their best pitcher, even though Rodon was the All-Star. But you get it.
Both of
So
those pitchers, though, you don't
little,
want to see. So
yeah, little information for you there. But continue, please.
no, I love it. I mean, that's pretty much about it. I hope we can keep the chain moving here. Keep things rolling. It's going to be tough. Like you said, you got some things to distract you tomorrow on the off day. I will have something prepared as well, but at the same time, we could have some breaking news tomorrow that we will not like necessarily, and that might be a little bit tough, especially if they go into the series against San Francisco. Anytime a team takes a bump like that, losing a Contreras or losing a Robertson, losing an Ian Happ, maybe going into the series. I'm not necessarily saying it will happen before the series, but obviously the send-off today was to do it for the home faithful at Wrigley. But there's a possibility that they do it on the off day and or do it really soon to kind of help these guys with their travel to their new organization, given that the Cubs have the off day and all that, and getting ready to travel themselves. So I don't know. It's going to be tough if that's the case, but just keep doing what you're doing. A lot of these guys that are going to be here have been playing pretty damn well lately, like Seiya, like Nico, like Christopher Morel, like Nelly V, who, where the hell has he been in the lineup lately? You have a great series like that, and then you're just out of the lineup for, 2 days in a row now? So I do not like to see that.
It's because Rafael Ortega plays a mean center field.
It's because we have to get Rafi
because trade stonks value for a guy like Rafi Ortega.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how much value he has at this point, but I mean, at first I was thinking, you might get something for him. Maybe they package him in something with another reliever. I don't know, but it's definitely tough right now. I want to see the young talent play. That's all.
Absolutely. Hey, a lot of people forget that Javier Baez was the main piece, obviously, but Trevor Williams was the sweetener to get Pete Crow Armstrong. So just remember, you could throw a little sweetener in there.
Throw a little Raffy in there to get a top
five. Yeah, who knows? But no, I'm right there with you, man. Like it's certainly going to be interesting. And actually, this is a really good point from Unknown X Pro 22 here. They got something for Jake Marisnik. So Raffy should get something. It should be something. Yeah. What that something is, who the hell knows? But so something certainly better than a swift kick in the ass. And then my jersey becomes a legend jersey, and that's always fun.
I'm just dreading the days where I can't say Rafael Ortega anymore.
Oh, I know. I'm also dreading the days when I can't hear Willson Contreras on the radio. That'll be something similar. But nonetheless, man, I'm right there with you. You know what?
That one actually hurts, Ron. I was making a joke. Yours actually hurts. Yeah.
Willson Contreras. Yeah, sorry about that one. I probably just shot everybody in the eardrum with that one. I apologize. But no, man, honestly, like, what this series, like you said, it's two teams going in kind of different directions. This Cubs team's doing good things. And again, a lot of it is the young guys. So I want to see those young guys continue to keep that up. I hope to see plenty of Nelson Velasquez in this series. He got 4 games to play him. Realistically, even if he gets in 2 of them, I would honestly be happy. Again, at least till the trade deadline comes and goes. And I think we'll see him a lot more often in the everyday lineup, pretty much starting with that Cardinals series that begins on August 2nd when the deadline is, when they're in St. Louis at Busch Stadium. So, but yeah, I'm right there with you, man. A split. Best case scenario, or worst case scenario, I guess, would be to me a split. But fuck it, ride this wave. Like if you could take 3 out of 4 against the Giants, especially if they're kind of sputtering right now, do it. It's only going to benefit the young guys. And I mean, the record is so bad at this point where like you're still in line for a top 10 draft pick right now, even if you continue to put some wins together. So we talked about it on the all. Yeah, right. We talked about it in the All-Star show where, they're probably going to have a better winning percentage in the second half because, some of these young guys are going to continue to play well and they're probably going to surprise a couple teams. But it'll be interesting to see. A win on Thursday would be cool. Hopefully our boy Justin Steele comes out and shoves and, you know the drill, but that's always cool and tough. Anyway, Joey, quickly fly the W pick for me. Who do you got for this coming San Francisco Giants series?
I mean, I'd be dumb not to ride this hot hand. Nico freaking Horner, you are a stud, and that's my fly the W pick.
I love that pick. I was actually going to go with that pick because I swear to God, he's going to hit one into that triple alley, at least in each.
Oh,
it's going to happen.
A Nico triple is just going to be so fun to watch in that ballpark too.
Just watch him fly around the bases. Just
yeah,
it'll be good stuff. Yeah, no, great pick. Nico's always a great pick. I'm gonna go with. I feel like he needs it after this series. He was a little quiet after a really good Phillies series. I'm gonna go with program favorite now. Let's be honest here, Christopher Morel. I think he's due for a big series here coming up out in the Bay. It'd be cool to see him get right and driving some runs or at least just get on base and do all the Morel magic that he does now. As kind of the jack of all trades for this current Cubs team. So I'm going to take Christopher Morel. We'll get Juice's pick ahead of the series on Thursday. If I'm a betting man and he goes different than us, he's going to go with one Willson Contreras, Ian Happ, or Seiya Suzuki if I'm a betting man. And
I think it's a good call.
Yeah, and I like to be a betting man every once in a blue moon. I'll tell you, Joey. But nonetheless, man, all good stuff here. Always fun. Reminder again for everybody, no show from us tomorrow with the off day. And it's probably shaping up, and this could change. So don't take this as gospel, and make sure you follow the Twitter account at Cubbies on Tap. You'll get all those updates there. Probably no show on Thursday. We will probably have a Cubs on Tap after dark on Friday.
I'm in for that, by the way.
Yeah.
Let you know on air.
Well, there you go. There you go. We've got it squared. Probably no show on Saturday, but then Sunday night for sure there will be a show, and that might be a full barn show too, which is always a good time with all three of us here at Cubs on Tap. So hopefully that's how it shapes up. Kind of split it into two game recaps of sorts, with schedules and kind of playing things around, and then obviously another off day then that following Monday before they start with St. Louis, and then we'll be back to our regular scheduled programming at that point, and then they return for some games, and I'm hoping to be in the building a week from Sunday. Is my hope against the Miami Marlins, when that team probably looks a lot different than it will currently as the deadline approaches as well. But nonetheless, want to remind everybody before we get out of here, Cubs fans, that Cubs on Tap is the official Cubs podcast of the On Tap Sports Network. You can check out all of our great work over at ontapsportsnet.com, at OnTapSportsNet on social media. You can follow the pod-specific accounts here for us at Cubs on Tap. We are at Cubbies on Tap, Cubbies. That's Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me. I am at Loose on Tap on the Bluebird app. Joey is at Joey Knows Nothing. That ends in IN because that stands for Win, baby. You can also follow our boy at Juice on Tap, at TeddyFreddy270, at Brendan MK, and everybody else that does great work for us here over at Cubs on Tap. Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks, you know the drill. We've got it all. And yes, Cubs fans, we all have friends that like the Southsiders. Unfortunately, for people like me who live in the South suburbs, I have too many friends that like the Southsiders. That's why I need to be cleansed every day coming on Cubs on Tap. But our boys over on the South side at Sox on Tap do a great job covering the players at 35th and Shield. So be sure to send your friends over to our guys at Sox on Tap. Once again, ontapsportsnet.com, at OnTap Sports on social media, the OnTap Sports Network. Go ahead and check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. Joey, my friend, it's always a pleasure to be on with you. Cubs win 6 straight. That's cool and tough. A lot of good shit today that we got to talk about after a 6 straight win. Unfortunately, that dark, glooming cloud that is the trade rumors of Ian Happ and Willson Contreras still looming, and we'll bring it all to you here over the course of the weekend and into the trade deadline next week right here at Cubs on Tap. Joey, what do you say, my friend? We get out here the only way we know how at Cubs on Tap.
Thank you, Willson. Thank you, Happ. Fuck the Cardinals.
And let's go, Cubbies.